Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm Eric Cafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this podcast is to dive into the mindset and the drive of people who have done incredible things with their lives. We are here today with another special guest on the Power of Lifting podcast. Enter Jon Klipstein from UXO Supplements. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Dude, here. We're pumped to have you on, man. So, if the good people don't know you, what are you famous for?
Oh God, a whole lot of nothing. Right?
I thought you were winding up for the opposite, a whole lot of yes.
A whole lot of
No, I guess for me here locally, it's just being the owner of UXO Supplements.
Right on.
I'm the Ruck 100 guy too.
Yes.
Referred me through that, and we hope to keep that gravy train rolling. You know, we're going to do it bigger and better every single year. I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah.
And I thank you guys for, sponsoring the event and being a part of it. It was great.
It's our pleasure.
That was awesome to see just this last year, because that's kind of when I took over the media stuff. You tagging us and stuff, and you're just hiking with a backpack, and there's a story here, a story there. I'm at mile here, I'm at mile this. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome, man.
It was great to get all the attention, and it all went to a great cause. Like that alone, we raised $7,500 for Mission 22 just on the Ruck.
That's fantastic.
That's really great.
So this year we're at, I think, $15,000 raised between all the different events we've done. So yeah.
So before we go into all that, into UXO, this UXO, you actually recently went full time into that, correct? So tell us a little bit about some backstory. What sports did you play growing up? Where'd you go to high school? All that stuff.
Yeah, man, sports growing up. I'll tell you what. Been in a little bit of everything, right?
Awesome.
So
nice.
My parents, they threw me, probably because I got picked on. I was always getting beat up. I was the runt in school. I was a year ahead of where I should have been. Because of my birthday, it fell in that weird spot.
Oh yeah.
So they put me in taekwondo, and that was my first taste of real sports, but not really team sport. Everything's on you.
Yeah.
I stuck with it until I got my black belt in taekwondo.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That was at 11 years old.
Yeah, that's
right?
awesome.
And I wish, looking back on it, I would have stuck with it. I would have been a badass, UFC fighter or something. A cage fighter for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But no, I missed. I want to play team sports. I want to get involved in football and soccer and basketball. So I left that behind and jumped into all of that, and
awesome.
Didn't really excel in any of them.
It's fun to play though, right?
Right.
Yeah,
if you're playing them all, it's hard
to
really take one out.
Yeah. But then got out of high school and doing that, and jumped right into sales. Full time.
Oh, okay. So did you join the military after high school, or
that was kind of the crazy thing is most people who join the military, they do it right out of high school. For me, I found that I had the gift of gab. So like I said, I jumped into sales, and I was making real good money and had this great career going. But then the housing crisis hit.
Oh, gotcha.
What was the sales you were doing?
Honestly, I started off at just Best Buy, right?
Oh,
selling
there you
electronics, and made my way up to being my own store manager.
Oh, nice.
When the housing crash happened, we saw a lot of store closures and a lot of lost jobs, and I found myself in that kind of bucket.
Oh, yeah.
And what was interesting was I started, interviewing at different places like Apple, all these different places.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm just getting sucked right back into retail and sales, and it's not. I felt like I needed to have more purpose in my life.
Gotcha.
So I was 29 years old and went down to the recruiter's office, was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do something real, though. I don't want to be
you don't want to be the cook.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to be a combat soldier, let's do this and, take the opportunity to have the government pay for my education. And stuff,
absolutely.
It was awesome.
That's awesome. So at 29, you essentially, you had been in retail sales after high school, and then you decided to just chop and cut everything else loose, and then go in the military. What branch did you go to? So
I was in the Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So
went through basic training. So tell us a little bit about that. What was the process like?
So it was interesting. I had because I was the older guy there.
Yeah.
Everybody else was, right out of high school. So I was like this ancient dude.
You're the old guy at 29.
At 29, yeah.
But what was crazy was, leading up to it. So I'll backpedal a little bit. Leading up to it when I left, or when I lost my job, and I first went down to the recruiter station. They're like, "Hey, come down here and let's put you through a PT test. Let's see how good you are." And back then, I was smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day, and
I wasn't
the healthiest person. And my first 2-mile run I did, it took me 24 minutes.
Oh man!
I threw up like 3 times.
There you go.
Couldn't do over 20 push-ups. So we put in the work. We knew that like I had 4-month time frame before I deployed to basic training.
Right.
So I just put in work daily. Just the only way to get better at running is to run.
Yeah. So what'd you do? How'd you approach that?
It was just every day. Every day I woke up, and I was fortunate enough that my recruiter he had a running program for me and gave it to me, and it was a bunch of like sprints, like alternate running. Yep. And that definitely helped me get my speed up. So by the time I went to basic, even though I was the old guy, like I was actually outrunning most of the young kids
awesome.
There.
Yeah,
that
reminds me of the kind of the David Goggins thing when he went to the recruiter's office and he was like way overweight and
really?
Couldn't do. Oh yeah, you should read his book. Yeah. But anyway, he went to the recruiter's office and he was like, I can't remember how heavy, but he was way over the weight restriction and couldn't do anything. And
that guy's now doing the 4x48. And
he's
insane.
Ultras, just crazy.
Ultra
but it kind of reminds me of that. You show up to the recruiter's office and you're like, I got work to do, but that's awesome. So I'm sure you dropped a bunch of weight, got in good shape.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the difference between now and back then. Like then you wanted to be combat ready, so you were light, nimble on your feet, and so I don't think in my military days I weighed over like 185.
Yeah.
I don't think, I was always that small.
So where'd you go after basic?
So after basic, then you go to advanced individual training, and then I remember the drill sergeants like walking down because they basically got everybody's orders in. So they walked right down the line, and they told you, boom, here's where you're going. And everybody was like South Korea, Germany, Italy. And I was like, yes, like this is going to be awesome.
Yes.
And they got to me and they're like, Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Like, darn it.
So, and what's crazy, I went there and I never left. Like you hear about people moving all over with the U.S. Army, and for most of my friends, it was the same way. They would pop orders after you were in one location for a certain amount of time. You were bound to get orders to go someplace different.
Right.
I never got that. I spent my entire, it was only 6 years, but my entire 6 years right there at Fort Knox. And
oh, wow. Did you ever get deployed and go overseas and all that? Okay. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I went twice to Afghanistan.
Okay.
And altogether, that's kind of the other thing that sucks about the military is how much time you truly spend away from your family. So when you have a wife and a daughter at home, I put all the time together, and I think it was over half that time, over 3 years I was away from them between all the training, and went to air assault school. Went,
awesome.
Overseas to Afghanistan twice.
That's awesome. So what are some of the special schools you went through? You said you went to airborne school.
So air assault.
Okay.
We went to air assault school, and that was a really cool school. There's a lot they teach you that's like of lame stuff, like how to hook up sling loads and stuff like that. But the big key piece to it is they teach you how to assault, how to rappel out of a black rock, and assault objectives. And that's the main reason I wanted to go. And they have some pretty crazy fitness events that you have to complete in order to remain in the school. So when I went, there was, I think, something like 250 soldiers showed up.
Oh, okay.
Out of that, I think there was like 110 that
Okay.
graduated.
So like 50%.
50%.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So did you enjoy going to some of those special schools and learning all that stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I said, the fun schools like that. There were some where it was like ALC and it was like leadership training.
Right.
Or, you'd have resiliency training. Those were just like watching videos, taking tests. Nothing fun, but like air assault, airborne, those are badass schools you want to train.
So what did you do? What was your job in your unit?
So joining the military, I went in as a cannon crew member.
Okay.
So we were artillery.
Oh, okay.
And that's the negotiation I had to make with my wife because I wanted to see combat, and she didn't want me out on the front lines, right? Like so the recruiter was like, do be an artillery guy. That way you're away from the chaotic, hectic, war zone, but you're shooting rounds still downrange.
Okay.
Because of like the Geneva Convention and like the laws of
Rules.
war.
Yeah, rules of engagement and stuff. Yeah.
They didn't allow us to shoot.
Oh,
so
wow.
We actually ended up getting to do what I wanted to do,
Oh.
and rucking up and down mountains looking for,
bad guys.
Yeah, for bad guys,
Oh,
and
nice.
Infiltrating, raiding places. It
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
Jeez,
So
wow.
did you ever consider going to Ranger School or anything like that?
No. In fact, so my business partner that's with me in UXO,
Mm-hmm.
I know we'll get to that though, but Doug, so me and him knew each other since we were privates.
Oh, okay.
Since we first showed up to Fort Knox.
Oh, okay.
Ranger School was always like you had to hit certain things before they
Right.
would sign off on you to go to Ranger. Doug, after our second deployment, I knew my body was pretty beat up. Doug was one of the younger guys, right?
Uh-huh.
So I knew it was, conflict was dwindling down. My second deployment wasn't like our first one where we were getting
Right.
hit with rockets all the time and
Right.
getting troops in contact, hitting IEDs. The second deployment was pretty mellow.
Oh, okay.
So I knew that conflict was dying down. My body had already taken a beating, and I was getting old. So I knew I
Getting
had to
old.
getting old. I was already considered old by military days,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I got out.
Okay.
Doug pushed forward, so he's a Ranger right now.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
and now he's actually pushing to go Special Forces.
Oh,
So
cool.
he's actually even trying to take that.
So
Next
is
step.
that pathway going to Green Berets next?
Yeah, that's where he's
technically?
trying to go. He
Oh,
wants
okay.
to go to, Delta.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty hot stuff right there.
yeah.
That's crazy.
And-
So, sorry,
Go ahead.
John, keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, Doug. He's one of those crazy guys, though. Like, because he's getting up there in age too. He's approaching
okay.
like 20 years, so he could retire.
Oh, is he? Oh, wow.
He's just full steam ahead. He
That's
just doesn't
impressive.
fucking Quit,
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That kind of brings in the mindset idea, and that's what we talk about here, the Power of Lifting podcast, not just physical strength, but mental strength. So kind of your mindset when you first started, I imagine, like, I don't know, was it one of those deals where like you took that first PT test and you're like, okay, is this actually worth it? Should I go down to Apple and take that job and just not worry about this? And then what kept you kind of going through that and taking those special schools and keep moving forward?
So I think, when I first took that, that PT test was humbling, and it's not all that much. It's a 2-mile run, 2-minute time push up and sit ups, and it's like I couldn't do it. So, yeah, I felt defeated.
Yeah.
But my wife, I owed her a lot because she really pushed me through it. Because I was like, well, what am I doing? Like, because I had that 4-month window before I could enter the military,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go get another job, and I got another sales job, and I was making bank already. And there were multiple times I went to my wife and I was like, what do I do? Like, do I just stay here and take the money that's good,
Mm-hmm.
or do I still push forward and try and do this military thing? And
With the purpose, because that's what you mentioned, right? That
Right.
You wanted this purpose, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what she would have to continually remind me is like, you want to do this, like this is going to give you purpose. And also, like, I wanted my degree, and that's military was going to make that possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she really pushed me into it, and we sacrificed, a lot of money, like 6 figures, to go
Yeah.
into making a soldier where you're making like, 32,000. So
Yeah.
we made that sacrifice and we made it work, and
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
came out stronger.
Yeah.
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 I can
So
imagine.
when did you start really getting into fitness? Obviously you own a supplement company, but when were you like, man, I really enjoy lifting weights and started finding fitness as a passion?
It was the first deployment.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
So our first deployment, we were deployed to Salerno, Fob
Okay.
Salerno. It's over by the Pakistan border, and they call
Okay.
it Rocket City. Like, if you Google Rocket City, you'll read all sorts of stories. Like, it got rocketed daily.
Oh, wow.
And you're in a high intense, what's the word I'm looking for? Very stressful environment.
I can
right?
imagine, yeah.
So that year that we were over there, that first year, we were there for 13 months, and I think we went on 420 missions.
Oh,
So there were
geez.
times we went out multiple times in a day.
That was a very high tempo.
That's
It
insane.
was, yeah. And you needed some sort of stress relief. So like for me, it was just finding humor and everything. Like we had a dark sense of humor, and we'd play pranks on one another. And then it was going to the gym. They had this little makeshift gym on the fob, which they had every piece of equipment you could wish for, which was great. And I'd never lifted weights like in a gym environment before. I was always running in the push-ups and stuff like that. But that's when I first got introduced to the gym, and every day.
So you got into it late in the game for most people.
Yeah. I'd never lifted weights. Like it was probably interesting seeing me on some of the equipment. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was fortunate my buddy was coaching me through like proper form and stuff. But that was the whole mission behind UXO, was like we want to encourage people to find therapy and fitness, because that's what worked for me.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
That's incredible.
So so your profession, so now you're the owner of UXO Supplements. So tell us a little bit about the backstory on UXO and how that got started.
So in that, everything's tied back to the military. That's why we have the theme. So even UXO Supplements, the UXO stands for unexploded ordnance. It's a military term, right? We try and tie everything back to it, because that's where all of our inspiration came from.
Right.
Even our values and our integrity that we hold in the company are derived from like what we learned in the military.
Right.
But it was on the first deployment again. So like I said, we're in FOB Salerno. We're hitting the gym. That was our stress relief. But the other thing is, so we got into the gym to where we were ordering in supplements from wherever we could get them. Yeah. And they have these health and welfare checks that they do, right? So there's a ban list in the military of certain ingredients that you can't take. They don't really tell you why. There's just a list. And so our leadership would come into our rooms, and they would grab our supplement bottles, and they'd look at it and be like, "You can't take this." They'd confiscate it. And
no,
I guarantee when you're a soldier, right, and you're not getting paid a bunch of money, you get pissed when your stuff's getting taken from you. I guarantee you that one of those sergeants was probably in his room
just taking them all,
snorting it, or mixing them together and just pounding them. But so that's where I really started doing research, like why was this product not safe for me to use? Why was it being confiscated? I started learning more about ingredients. And after I had like my 4th or 5th pre-workout taken from me, I just started ordering in raw ingredients like creatine and arginine, and started mixing it tasted god awful. I was just making my own pre. And that's where like I really got into learning about the ingredients and how ingredients worked, and what was good for you, what was bad, and why.
That's totally how it was though back in the day, because most people, if you're just getting into lifting in the past, say 4 years even, there's quite a bit of label transparency. There's quite a bit of, at least there's more research out there on like, what ingredients you should take. And there's different pre-workouts and different products that have, more things that, are research based and things like that. But back then, it was like you're getting proprietary blends of who knows what. I mean, it's still, not a regulated industry, right? So it's like, you, especially back then, it's like you didn't know what was in what you were taking. And some things, they were on the label, but, you had things like ephedra, you had, all the old school stuff that was just, it's just out there.
Wow. And a lot of people, there's a lack of education out there.
Oh, yeah.
And with a lot of these ingredients being chemically manufactured, right, or concocted in a lab, like they would have an ingredient called 2-amino-isoheptane. Like, what the hell is that? But it's basically the same thing as, like you said, ephedra. It's like one chemical compound away from being a pure methamphetamine. People don't know that. You just see 2-amino-isoheptane on the label. It's like, it's in this product. I just bought it off of the shelf. It's must be good.
They're selling it.
They're selling it, right?
Might as well take it.
So the bad side to that is, then you have soldiers who are, failing urinalysis tests because they're testing false positives as taking methamphetamines and getting chaptered out of the Army. And
same thing for athletes too.
Athletes too.
People, in whether you're, Olympics, World Championships, even down to, some of the, drug tested bodybuilding and things like that. There's banned substances that you'll take a urinalysis test and fail because you had an amphetamine or something in the supplement you were taking.
And all you wanted was a good pump.
Yeah, that's. I mean, exactly.
Yeah, you hear it happen like UFC fighters. It happens to them.
Yep.
Like Yoel Romero. And I don't know if a lot of people, because you'll hear like stories of Jon Jones and how people question his, because he was at the same time doing cocaine and stuff like that.
Right.
But Yoel Romero was a UFC fighter. He got slapped on with the fine and the suspension for his piss test, and he went out and they actually acquired a bunch of the pre-workouts that he was taking right off the shelf, and they sent him in on his own dime. He had them tested.
Oh wow! And
they all tested positive for the same thing he got hit for.
Oh
so
wow!
It lightened his suspension, and but still, I mean,
yeah, you don't want to deal with that as an athlete.
For what you're putting in your body.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you started the idea of making supplements because you were having to mix your own. You couldn't really, there wasn't a whole lot you could just buy off the shelf and use.
Yeah, I think that, as we got out of our second deployment, and that's kind of where I realized, okay, I'm going to exit.
Right.
I had the option to re-enlist and keep going on my military journey. But I knew that because of my knee and my back and half my hearing's lost, right? I'm supposed to wear hearing aids, but I'm too vain. So they paid for them. I got them at home, but I just won't wear them. But so I was transitioning out. Doug kept going full force. But it's really, it mind fucks you like after you've been in the military for so long, and that's your purpose, and that's your mission.
Yeah.
And the day you hang up your uniform and take off your boots for the last time, it's like
it
goes
go?
Back to that purpose. Like, what's my purpose now?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to go find a job, but that's just what it was. It was a job.
Right.
And my passion really fell into this because, while the other side of the story is while I was in, it had multiple friends take their own lives.
Oh, wow.
Right, to suicide. And that's a big thing in the veteran community.
Yeah.
They say it's, statistically, since 2012, it's 22 veterans take their own lives per day, which is a staggering statistic when you think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's true. And we even saw it living in Fort Knox. It happened all the time where a soldier would take his own life. And so that was our focus, was like, how do I help encourage people to find sanctuary or find therapy and fitness?
Right.
Like, even for myself, I suffer from PTSD. I have anxiety. And the VA, you go see the VA, they're quick to throw medication at you.
Yeah.
Like, let's medicate it. That'll fix the problem. And for me, that's just a Band-Aid. And it doesn't fix anything. It makes you feel like shit.
Makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
You take one bad for another. You might not be anxious feeling, but you're somewhere else.
Right.
It can be real hard. Yeah.
Real lethargic, or just not the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, I just every day I'm in the gym. Like, I'm always here, even if it's a rest day, I'll come in and just walk on the treadmill just to release endorphins, get my head in the right spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we wanted to encourage others to do the same. And then with my experience with what we saw in the sports nutrition industry, and I've seen the industry's changed over the past 4 or 5 years for the better.
Yeah,
like what you've talked about. There's more transparency. There's more third-party testing. There's, which is great. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
And so we created our product that, again, met those standards. Like, transparency was important, third-party testing, making sure that there's no banned substances. It's safe for soldiers. It's safe for, a middle-aged soccer mom.
Right.
All of our products are safe and effective to use. And then on top of that, just taking a portion of all the profits. So 10% of all of our profits go to the DAV, to Mission 22, to Homes for the Troops. Those are the 3 that we work with.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I didn't know you guys worked with Homes for Our Troops. That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, it was you guys that inspired us after your strongman. So we got in contact with them, and now we spread those profits. And I mean, it's big for us because that became our mission going forward. Like, and
talk about a purpose.
What's that?
Talk about a purpose. Like, that's special.
That kind of made me feel fulfilled inside by carrying this thing forward. So while it started off as a side project, because I had my job that fed the family.
Right.
Me and Doug saw, we believed in what we were doing. We believed in the products. So we put our $10,000 forward, and we launched our product line and started selling. And we made the commitment we wouldn't take a penny of the money for 5 years. and grew it to 5 years, and was like, wow, we could actually jump into this full time. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, left my job and doing this for the past 3 or 4 months now, right?
Yeah,
Full-time.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, and I love having the mission behind it. You know, that's really big to us here. You know, finding good charities to give money to, because I mean, what's the point, right? If you're not giving back to people, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
just, it's so important, and that's awesome to hear that you guys do that. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about things you're most proud of. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you're most proud of.
Some of the things I'm most proud of. You know, boy, I'd have to say my daughter.
Yeah,
Very proud of her.
good
It's
answer.
Yeah.
You have one kid? Just
so
her?
I have my one daughter and 2 stepkids, and yeah, I gotta say that I'm proud of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, like, I was dreadfully afraid of being a dad. Like, that's so much responsibility.
Weren't we all?
Yeah.
You know? And but I've got, you know, 3 great kids that they have good heads on their shoulders. They, you know, yeah, they're great kids. I see the future for them is going to be super bright, better than it was for me. You know.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's all you can dream about as a parent, I think.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how are you now currently involved in fitness with UXO and yourself?
And myself.
And yourself. I mean, you're like you said, you're here every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I wish my diet was better. Like, that's the
Yeah.
love and hate relationship I have with fitness. Is I work hard in the gym, but then I go home and I drink beer and eat like
Yeah. Well,
not the best food, but I'm actually changing that. So like you said, my involvement with fitness last year, we put on the Ruck 100.
yep.
Way underestimated that. Like, we knew the longest I'd ever done in the military was like 30 miles with 40 pounds. And so we set up like, hey, we're going to do a 100-mile ruck and raise money for these, you know, nonprofits.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be easy. But there's no program out there to really train you for 100 miles because nobody does 100 miles.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I used the best Ranger competition training program.
Oh, there you go.
Looking at it in hindsight, that was only setting you up to do 50 miles. So, like, once we got beyond in the actual ruck, like, once I hit 55 miles, like, I was destroyed. My feet were destroyed. My knees were hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was just done.
Yeah.
And I kept pushing, but eventually I had to tap out. So we were fortunate. We had one guy that completed the whole 100.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
And so he brought in all the money, and he killed it, but he's an ultra marathon runner.
Oh, yeah.
He's done. And that's where I've realized this year I've got to change up my training. So we did a lot of rucking. We practiced and threw on more weight, went longer distances. This year I'm incorporating more, cardio. Yeah. So I plan to run a marathon this year.
There you go.
Do the Ruck 100 again, bigger
There we
and better.
go.
This year I will complete it.
Yeah.
And then I'm also trying to jump into powerlifting at the
There
same
you go.
time. So
Deadly combo. The cardio and the strength.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
No,
it'll be
that's
interesting.
awesome.
Killer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, nutrition is such a key
Yeah.
component of that. You know what I mean? I mean,
It's
the
like
lighter,
the most important.
yeah, like the lighter you can be on your feet, and the more optimized you can be in terms of energy levels and things like that. Obviously, you know, going to help with all things, rucking, lifting, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. So, how are you in UXO kind of tied into fitness? Are you guys sponsoring competitions? I mean, I know you guys sponsor our powerlifting meets quite a bit.
Yeah.
Are you doing sponsored athletes, things like that?
We do have a couple sponsored athletes. Our focus has really changed, right? Like I started looking at, I've never, like, bodybuilding, somehow we initially got kind of cornered into that.
Well,
as-
bodybuilders take supplements,
Right.
so it's
That's where
understandable.
the market is. Yeah.
And but the more I've looked at it, and it's like I was actually on the treadmill the other day with one of the competitors here, and we were talking, and I really realized, like, you know, I don't really understand what she's going through. I've never stepped on stage myself,
Right.
so I don't know, like, the heartaches that they have with the caloric deficit and all these things that's going on. On the flip side, you know, she's a 23-year-old female. She doesn't understand, like, really what we're going through and what we're trying to accomplish with UXO and our military background and everything we're trying to do. So bodybuilders, like if we sponsor somebody, it's really going to be somebody that's in bodybuilding, but I also want them to be a soldier.
Tied in, absolutely.
Have some sort of military background. That's why me and Chet get along so well here with his U.S. Air Force background. But, but that's our focus.
Chet and the Chair Force.
The Chair Force,
shout out, Chet. We love you.
Don't edit that out.
Yeah. We don't edit. Don't worry. We tell people that we edit, but we don't. Sorry, continue.
So our focus, like we're really focused on powerlifting, strongman now.
Yeah.
And then we're bringing out some more products. Like we've got Charlie Mike here, which is our intra. It's endurance hydration formula. There we go.
Love it.
We've got a new carb formula that we're coming out with.
Oh, there we go. Quick. For the gains. That's it.
Yeah, for the gains, but also for more endurance athletes.
Yeah.
Like we're starting to look at like, marathon runners and people, just because running is such an integral part in military.
Oh, absolutely.
What we do.
That is like, it is the thing.
Well, when I think about physical tests, I guess the PT of military, I think running, push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups, I guess. But running.
Have you seen that they changed it though quite a bit now?
Yeah, the military
test
testing
is more like deadlifts. And
they use trap bar deads.
Yeah,
really?
Crazy.
Yeah,
no, yeah,
it's changed. Completely different game over there.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, right on.
Well, no, this is good, man. I like the theme you guys going in with the Charlie Mike. So for those of you who haven't looked at this product, this is actually really cool. So they put essential amino acids, electrolytes, and then your coconut water powder, taurine, and Pico 2. So tell us a little bit about Pico 2. That's an interesting ingredient.
Yeah, so we're fortunate enough that we've been in the supplement game now for over 5 years.
Yeah.
We really haven't taken it serious until, like I said, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But in the 5-year time, we're fortunate enough to make some really good connections in the industry.
Oh,
and
very
the
good.
guy that actually completed the 100-mile ruck, his name's Spencer Lynn. He works for Compound Solutions. When he heard that we were doing this, he was like, I'm flying out there and doing this with you.
Awesome.
Now, Compound Solutions, they are a big manufacturer of trademarked ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay.
So having that connection with Spencer, he's been able to put bugs in my ear and send me some ingredients that aren't even out in the market yet that they're toying with. But one of them was Pico 2, and I'm really impressed with this ingredient. It's a blend of adaptogen mushrooms.
Exactly.
It's raised right here.
Cordyceps,
Yeah, and it's raised right here in United States of America.
Oh, fantastic.
So you know the purity of it. You know where it's cultivated at. But the crazy thing on it is the studies behind it.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of studies out there, and any study can be manipulated to give you any outcome you want, right?
Absolutely.
So some of these studies that I read on ingredients, I'm like, well, like you look at what they used as controllables, and like some of the test subjects were like people in their 50s, and it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
For Pico 2, they used, I think it was 21 collegiate athletes from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And all of them saw just crazy spikes in their time to failure and VO2 max. Like 17% increases versus a placebo group. So the group that thought they were taking something, didn't have anything in, they saw like no differences. Everybody who took the Pico 2 was just through the roof.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
Yeah, the mitochondrial kind of upregulators and optimizers of the world, like cordyceps, very, very interesting. And I'm really excited to see actually where the science goes on all that stuff from here on out as well. Because ingredients like the Pico 2 and the cordyceps, the different types of mushrooms is what they're using. But it's really interesting, even when you look at doing like the NAD drips and things like that. That's not necessarily a supplement, but it's really super cool stuff.
Yeah,
so,
fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed your commercial you did for it. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah, the most recent commercial was a gem.
Go check that out,
you guys
everybody.
haven't seen that. Moist and Hydrated.
Moist and Hydrated.
Featuring Coach Marlin.
Yep.
That guy has no shame. That dude's the funniest dude, because I came to him and he's not even affiliated with us. He's not like a sponsored athlete or anything. And I just know that he puts out funny content, and I see him here all the time. So I was like, Marlon, I got this idea for this video.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell him about it. Like, right, you're not going to be wearing a shirt. You're going to be pouring water all down the front of you. And he was like, yep, let's do it. Let's go.
I'm in.
Yep. He was in for no shame with that guy. You know?
That's so awesome.
Love
That's
him.
really great.
When we're talking about USO supplements, all the lines that you have, do you have like a top 3 that you really, really like personally?
That I personally really like?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I'll send it. That's our flagship pre-workout. Again, It's loaded with trademarked ingredients. I like it because the trademarked ingredients are important to me because, again, you could have some companies that will just use generic ingredients. You don't quite know where they're sourced from, what the purity is, if they have contaminants in them. The trademarked ingredients, very safe and effective to use. But it has a full scoop of beta-alanine in it, so that when you feel it kick in 15 minutes, like you're like, boom, I'm ready to go.
Yep.
So Send It is my top one. Charlie Mike, that thing was a lifesaver on the 100-mile ruck. And that's the other thing. Like, there's all these studies about people taking water now, hydrating with water, and how it's not beneficial.
Doing as much. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
And I saw that firsthand on the 100-mile ruck. Like, there were times where I ran out of Charlie Mike, and I had a bag full of water bottles, and I'm pounding water and just completely dehydrated, like just feeling just down. And the minute I got to the point where I could fill up with Charlie Mike, it's like you take it and you automatically
Definitely feel the difference.
Yeah, you can feel the difference. So that one. And then the third one, which I feel like it doesn't get enough attention, is our Daily Essentials.
Okay.
That's our that one's
The multivitamin.
it's a multivitamin. We give you exactly 100% of your daily values in everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of multivitamins out there. They give you like 3,000% of vitamin E or whatever. Well, we don't do that. It's 100%. And then it's got your prebiotic, your probiotic, and digestive enzymes in it.
Oh, cool.
So it's a huge value. Like it's $29 multivitamin, but you're getting 3 stages of gut health. And gut health right now is
It's a hot item.
so important.
Yeah.
With immune support, with everything, bloating.
Yep.
Especially for stage competitors. So it's like a 3-in-1 product.
Oh,
Great
that's
value.
cool.
That's great. Yeah, great shout out there.
So tell us a little bit more about how exercise enhanced your life. We kind of touched a little bit on that with, kind of getting starting lifting in the military. But tell us a little bit more about that. What does it mean to you kind of now compared to then?
Now it's a lifestyle. Like you have to. But I think, from the bigger scale picture, like fitness really saved my life.
Yeah.
If I could get my diet locked in, because back then I wasn't eating healthy and I was drinking way too much and I was smoking all the time.
Yeah.
I don't smoke anymore.
That's good.
My drinking's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll still
In a
have
positive direction, yeah.
Yeah, in a positive direction. But I would probably say if it wasn't for military and diving into fitness head first, I'd probably still be on that same track.
Yeah.
Smoking a pack a day, probably stressed out.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely been a common theme on this podcast is, mental health with exercise. It's huge. I was just talking to a gal today I was having a meeting with, and, we were kind of talking about some of the COVID stuff, and a lot of that's kind of resurfacing right now for whatever reason. And, she's like, what are you guys going to do? If things start to get weird again and, businesses start, the government starts trying to close things down. I'm like, dude, we can't afford to close our doors again.
No.
And take the financial side out of it, but I think that we owe it to all of our members in our community to give them somewhere to, pursue their health and fitness. Right. And this is that place. You know what I mean? The gym is that place.
It should be, what did they call it back then? It was
essential.
Essential.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. Totally essential.
The most essential.
Yeah.
In hospitals, of course.
Yeah. And supplements kind of go along with that. Supplements are a part of people's routine and I would say supplements are important. There's a lot of guys out there, you don't need to take supplements, blah blah. It's like, well, even taking a pre-workout is even mentally a huge piece of going to the gym for a lot of people, because I don't know about you guys, I'm sure you do, I know your answer, and I actually know Hunter's answer to this too, but when you're getting ready to work out, the first thing I think of is, okay, I got to drink something. You know what I mean?
Got to do something.
It's habit, like legitimately 20 years of habit. I just like, okay, I got to find something to drink before I work out, even if it's late at night and it's like a non-stimulant, something or other. Like I got to drink something before I go and start working out. It's crazy. But I think that it's not outlandish to say that fitness has saved a lot of lives, and put a lot of people on the right track in terms of their health. So what are the top 3 things you're most passionate about today? And how do those things differ from those from when you were young?
The top 3 things I'm passionate about. Man, I should have looked over the list a little bit better, huh?
No, Eric kind of put me on the spot last time, and it's kind of hard to drum up your answers real quick, but it's all good.
No, I think that I don't know if I have top 3 things that I'm passionate about. Like my mindset has definitely changed as I've gotten older, and it's less of the material things for sure.
Right.
Like for me, and that was one of the, I don't want to say it was hard. It wasn't hard for me. It was hard for my wife. But when I decided I wanted to jump in on this, like it's time I have to go all in on UXO.
Yeah.
Probably much like most people, we were living outside of our means.
Yeah.
So like I had this brand new boat, wakeboard boat. I had brand new 2021 Duramax diesel.
There you go.
And there was a lot of stuff that had to go when I made the decision, like I'm going in on UXO 100%. Like we had to liquidate and we had to get rid of the boat and sold the truck and downsized and to where we're in a comfortable spot to where this pays the bills and I don't have to be stressed out about where's the next paycheck coming from. So that's something I'm passionate about, is really, and I teach my kids too, is just trying to live your life to the fullest. Like enjoy, you have one life to live.
Yeah, totally.
What are you going to do with it? And this is what I'm passionate about. Like had I stuck with my job, I would have been stuck in a job that paid well, but I hated.
Right.
So it goes back to the mental health thing. Like, is this the best choice for me to be grinding daily in this job that I hate?
Just to make money.
Just to make money. Right. And that's the thing, is we don't, you shouldn't work to live. You should live. Well, no, that doesn't sound right. We should live to work.
Well, I think you shouldn't work to live. I totally agree with that. But I think it's, you should definitely, find a passion with what you're doing. You know what I mean? For sure. And I think, if COVID last year didn't show us anything, it certainly should have showed us that we need to, be spending our time on things that kind of give us that fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not be, wasting time just, like you said, just for money, right?
Right.
I mean, you can certainly, make money on things that you're passionate about too. Why shouldn't you? Right. So
and I think that was like the biggest realization I had to come to grips with was when I had the truck and I had the boat, and I was like looking at this as the alternative path, right? UXO. And for me, it was a bad mindset to be in, because it's like, well, what if I do this and it fails? Then I could lose, everything. I was so worried on like what I have.
Right.
And when I started to focus on like, let's not worry about what I have. Let's look at like what the potential is.
Right.
And so that's where it was, for me, it was easy to walk away from all that stuff, the boat and the big paychecks, like you said, the money. And because I know the potential is here to grow this to just a juggernaut. And then we'll be in a way better position than where we were when I had the boat, when I had the truck.
Right,
and,
right.
Just switching the mentality of the way I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then making it happen.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Really like that, yeah.
So what is a 2 to 5 year goal for you professionally with UXO?
So professionally, so we're still pretty small. Like this year, we're on pace to over double what we did last year.
Awesome.
Which is great. So by next year, we still use a drop shipper to ship a lot of our products. We put our personal touch on it, but they ship everything for us. We dovetail on them. By next year, we will have our own warehouse space,
Awesome.
and I plan on making it, a decent space. So I'm not in here getting in people's way and videotaping people and taking pictures in the gym. Like we're gonna have our own little gym set up, and the warehouse loaded with product, and so I'm looking forward to that. And I really haven't looked beyond that. Like obviously the goal is to continue to scale, but right now all of our focus is on getting our warehouse space and taking everything over internally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be a big step.
It'd be huge, yeah. I'm super stoked for it. And then, I'm limiting my pay because now we're starting to figure out where do we need to pull in more resources.
Right.
So we're looking at acquiring more talent to help us with like the marketing side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The sales side of it, the operational side of it. So
Right.
So everything, I've set my annual income, and like this is where I'm at. And the more money we make, I'm not going to pull more from that. It's like we're setting that aside and we're going to start pulling in more talent.
Growing the team.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's awesome. That's great goals, man. So if somebody is struggling or stuck, what words of wisdom would you give them? So
Struggling and stuck in fitness or
in life, in fitness, in anything.
Oh man.
Because you're definitely, I mean, especially after hearing more of your backstory, you've definitely been through a few different chapters. You definitely gained some very valuable life experience going through that stuff. So what are some of the things that you kind of use mentally to get through times when you feel like you're, like you mentioned when you're going into the military, like, your wife kind of pushed you to go into that. What are some of the things that you use to get onto that next thing or to level up?
I think every scenario is different in how you would motivate yourself, right? But
Yeah.
Like for me, man, I think like from an entrepreneurial, let's start with fitness. Like with fitness, it's always remembering what your goal is. Like I'm amazed at some of the athletes that you have, like even Kalia.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just mentally focused. Like she knows what her goal is. She's not compromising anything.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people, probably even myself, struggle with that because you're not tunnel vision focus on that one goal, and you just let things slide, whether it be in diet, whether it be in nutrition, sleep, exercise, whatever. So it's constantly trying to remind yourself on what your goal is and why you get up every day to do that. Like I see myself doing that with UXO a lot. It's like sometimes I wake up and I don't have the energy, but it's like, no, like every day you have to scale every day. You have to come in with that mentality of I'm making this grow today. Like I'm going to find victories today and make this thing continue to scale. From an entrepreneurial mindset, that the biggest thing I've had to, like I'm helping a couple other companies start to scale their brands. Like you have Until Death Barbell that I'm working with, and like the biggest thing that took me the longest time to recognize is not to give a shit about other people. Like I used to take things so personal. People, and I think that this isn't just for entrepreneurs, but anybody's life. Like if someone talking trash about you or saying negative things, it's too easy to get on that emotional roller coaster and get upset and defensive. And I learned that like when I stopped giving a shit and let them speak their piece, and if I don't agree with it, like they can think whatever the fuck they want. I'm gonna push forward and keep in my lane. Things progress better for me.
Absolutely.
And it didn't get me in this funk where I became negative.
Mental health, man. Talk about mental health. You let everybody else chewing at you get on your nerves, man.
Don't pay attention to that comment section.
Man.
You try to avoid that. And I even told one of my athletes, because she posted some question on Instagram, and she posted the answers she got, and she was like heartbroken because of some of the evil things that people had said. It's like, you're kidding me, you're an IFBB pro. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you don't even know who this person is. Probably sitting there eating their donut and just...
Keyboard warrior.
Keyboard warriors.
There you go. No, I think that, once people start, just focusing more on themselves and what they can do, I mean, the better your life is going to go, right? I mean, you shouldn't really be concerned about, other people's opinions, right? I think you should definitely care about other people and do things to help other people, like we talked about, charity and things like that. But as far as the, taking, negative comments from other people seriously, man, it's just like, who's got time for that? Right. You know what I mean? I certainly don't.
Right.
It's like, okay, one negative comment. All right, move on to the next. Like, I mean, it's like, who cares?
No, you go down this rabbit hole of just negativity and you let it consume you.
Yeah. Positive vibes out in the universe. That's all.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Come right back to you.
Yeah. That's right. That's like, it blows my mind. All right. So, what is the first thing you think when you wake up in the morning?
Oh, so this just changed too. And again, it goes back to mental health. So because the first thing every single morning, because this is also, and I need to switch that up. This is my alarm clock. So I got my phone right there.
Yep.
So the alarm goes off. It's the first thing I reach for to shut off.
Yep.
It's automatically the first thing I open up and start scrolling through emails and everything else. And that just sets you off in like the wrong freaking place.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like right
Stress
now,
instantaneously.
Yes, instantly. And so I refuse to do that now. Like I hit the alarm button, I throw that off. I usually take my dog for a walk, or else I'll do my run. And I start my day off that way, and I feel so much better.
Oh, I bet.
When the first thing I do is not grab my phone. Like I go make a cup of coffee, grab the dog, off we go, and I'm in such a better place when I get back.
Absolutely.
It allows your brain to really start thinking.
Oh,
Like you're out there.
You got to set the tone for the day.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's cool. You read stuff about business leaders all the time. It's just like they wake up early. They call it, like, sometimes they call it selfish reasons. They'll wake up early in order to not be immediately hit with a bunch of stuff, but they can keep that away. And then they have that time to run, to work out, to read, to let the creativity flow.
Exactly.
And to feel. And then that just creates, you may wake up earlier, but I found that it allows a lot more energy throughout your day.
Oh, yeah.
Just feel that energy.
I think, like you said, being able to center yourself and prioritize your day and set your day up in your brain so that you're more productive. Because if you just start trying to go at things as they come to you, good luck getting anything done, right? So I fully support that. Get up, walk, no phone time or email time for a little bit. You gotta let yourself like chill for a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
That's really no, I'm on board with that. That's great.
And I agree
great
with
advice.
You 100% from the creativity side. Like, I didn't think of it from that aspect, but that's really what you're doing when you're walking your dog and you're out there. Like, your brain's going. Yeah, the way you put it, like that creativity to start flowing. Like, that's exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love it.
So these are we get into some fun questions here. One of my favorites is, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why? It's a great question.
Great question.
You can do less than 3.
Okay. If I could have dinner.
Yep.
3 people. Oh man, this wasn't on the list, was it?
No, these are little rapid fire surprises.
Oh yeah,
that one even been saved with this one. Man.
First people that come to mind. We've had some great answers.
Who would you? First person that comes to mind?
First person that comes to mind. Well, I don't know. For some reason, Arnold Schwarzenegger always comes to my mind when I ask this question.
Oh, that's who comes to your mind? Yeah.
That's who comes to my mind, and I think it's because I really got my start into bodybuilding and like weight training specifically for bodybuilding purposes after I watched Pumping Iron when I was like 14, 15 years old.
He started it.
And so and I'm sure he started it for a lot of people, but I think that he's kind of like the one of the godfathers of bodybuilding, you know what I mean? And it's funny because on one of our previous episodes we had Brad and Elaine Craig on here.
Oh yeah
And I totally was giving them examples, and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have dinner with Schwarzenegger, and he's like, oh yeah, I had dinner with Schwarzenegger, and I'm like, get out of here, no way, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
He has?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to just listen to him talk his accent.
Oh yeah.
That's like you had Chris Gethin on here as a guest. And the first time me and him chatted on the phone, he left me a voicemail.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, just hit me up and we'll have a chin waggle.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Yeah, I'm like, what the hell's a chin waggle? So I was like, dude, I got to ask, what's a chin? He's like, a chat.
Yeah.
Just say chat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Dude,
it's a chin
but it was
it's
cool.
the Welshman in him.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
Welsh.
Dude.
But I love his accent. Like, I could listen to him talk for hours.
Oh,
like,
dude.
his
For
accent's
sure.
awesome.
I love
And then
sending
the passion
him.
in which he talks.
Oh,
too,
dude.
is
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
Sending him messages on WhatsApp. I love that he's totally into WhatsApp because
That's all he uses. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's so great. I'll get the best messages back
Because he always leaves you a voice message.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I love it. I love talking to Chris. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, I don't really have one. If I were to eat dinner with, if I could think of one person, might be, oh God, yeah, I don't have a good answer. Gilbert Godfrey.
There you go.
Gilbert Godfrey.
That would
why
be
not?
entertainment, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's high as hell on cocaine or whatever drugs.
Yeah.
It would just be an experience.
Yeah.
It'd be an experience.
I think the more I listen to his podcast, is Joe Rogan might be one of my people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Think of Joe Rogan.
I mean, the dude, like, he's had some incredible people on his podcast, and he's just an interesting guy.
And he's intelligent. He can talk to you about anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
anything, any
it'll
subject.
get some clicked. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why his podcast works. He can very much have an intellectual conversation with anybody on what topic you're talking about.
Yeah. We're always striving to get on Joe Rogan's level.
That's right.
I mean,
All the podcasts working towards that. Right?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
like, that's
I read
it,
this
man.
article. It's like the what did it say? The podcast god or something like that. Joe Rogan. I was like, podcast deity is what they called him.
Yeah.
Deity.
The
Yeah.
deity of podcast.
Well, I mean,
Wow.
guy being a comedian, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
Gilbert Godfrey, like, man, I mean, having dinner with a comedian is, I mean, you would think it'd be a good time,
Yeah,
right?
You would think.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron White drinking whiskey, or what does he drink?
Cigar.
Scotch, and he
Yeah.
drinks scotch and his cigar.
And that voice of his too.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Those guys are built different up in the head.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Chris Farley.
Did you ever see Joe Rogan's TV show, Joe Rogan? What is it? It's like he explains it all, or where he basically goes out and he tries to. He goes into everything with an open mind,
Oh,
and then he'll either try and debunk it or
I haven't seen that.
prove it right. Yeah, it's not. It was one season, but he had this one with chemtrails, and there was another one with Bigfoot, and it's just funny,
man.
like when he gets to that point and he basically tells people they're dumb as shit. You know?
Yeah.
But he does it
Oh, yeah.
professionally. But it's a great watch. I don't know why it got
Joe
canceled.
Rogan questions everything.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan questions everything. There's some great episodes on
Well,
that.
yeah, you just
The
look at like
Bigfoot
what he
one
does.
is hysterical. He goes out with these people, and he goes in with an open mind to try and believe them, and then pretty much he starts telling them they're all idiots.
Yeah, you guys are. Well, he likes a good conspiracy theory.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Right down the rabbit hole.
Which is
yeah.
great. Okay, so on to my real favorite questions here.
Okay.
What are some of your top favorite books? We try to get a top 3 list.
So, oh god, so the first Break All the Rules.
Oh,
That's a great book.
Break All the Rules.
First Break All the Rules.
First Break All the
so
Rules,
it
okay.
basically just challenges you to think differently in an entrepreneur or leadership position.
Awesome.
And it gets you to change the mindset of leading people versus, you work for them.
Right.
And that's a really good book. I've read that probably 3 or 4 different times because it's interesting. Like, I'm sure with any good book, you can go back to it and you'll take a tidbit that,
Oh, yeah.
maybe you missed or maybe you've forgotten about.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
can
just-
never absorb the whole thing the first
Right.
go, right?
Right.
Those are always the best books, like you said, that you can go back and read again and get a completely different message out of.
Yeah. And then another one is The Power of Storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one. And
I love the title.
Power of Storytelling. Yeah, it's great because for me, it's helped from the business side of it. Like, how do we better tell our story?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even with us being so small, we still don't do a good enough job of talking about who we are and what we stand for
Right.
and what we're about. But the Power of Storytelling also is great for anybody because it helps you, like, how do I inspire others? How do I influence others? How do I, it doesn't matter if it's for business or if it's for you every day.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Do you have a third?
No, not really.
Okay,
I mean, there's quite a few books I've read, but there's not a whole lot that I've picked up multiple times.
Those two speak to you.
Yeah.
Let's go to the real most important question, and this will let the audience know who you really are as a person.
Oh, shit.
Top 2 movies.
Oh, top 2 movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm a big movie buff. I've got so many.
Oh
But,
yes. Okay.
yeah,
I like you more already.
Yeah, we're in the right company here.
13 Hours.
Oh, dude.
I've watched that movie so many goddamn times.
I've watched that movie a lot of times. That is like
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You
Have you seen
can't-
that?
Have
Oh.
John
you-
Krasinski?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't watch
Man.
it at night, man. Like I'll stay up.
Yeah.
Like if I watch that
Oh,
at
yeah, it's
night,
such a
I
long
will
movie,
stay
too.
up.
Yeah.
That's
Almost a couple
the
days to recover.
yeah, that's Benghazi, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Benghazi.
So yeah, I
controversy.
actually met one of those guys at SHOT Show last year.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Crazy. What's his name? Oh, dude. I am
He,
sorry.
he was
I
one of the
forgot
guys
his-
that was there, though.
Yeah, it was. Oh, jeez. Anyway, he's from Colorado.
Yeah.
Super, super good dude. Gosh, I can't remember.
There's the cast. I
jeez.
don't know if you.
It was. I don't think.
Yeah, I would love to hear stories,
think
because
it
I'm sure
was.
that, what they portray on TV, they probably tried to stick as close to the storyline as possible, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Dude,
just doesn't
I'm-
do it justice.
Right. It's
I
still
am-
Hollywood that got a hold of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it John Tegan? I think it was John Tegan. Anyway, I could be wrong. I think that was him though.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. It was. Yeah, that looks like him. Yeah, Tegan. Anyway, crazy movie.
Yeah.
Crazy story. And he was just the nicest guy in the world. It's awesome. He had a
Yeah.
service dog with him.
Oh,
Ladies
nice.
kept trying to come up and pet the service
yeah.
dog.
No,
And I'm like, dude,
don't.
quit trying to pet the service dog. Like, don't you know? Quit trying to pet the dog.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
that's
a
pretty funny.
no-go.
Okay, movie number 2.
Movie number 2, Gangs of New York
Oh, that's a good
is
one.
a big one for me. I like that movie.
That's
I don't
a
know
good
if
It's
one.
been a while.
that
Now
one.
I got to go back and see it again. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I'm also like big into like organized what's that one? Leonardo DiCaprio, The Departed.
Oh, The
I've
Departed.
watched The
that's a-
Departed so many goddamn times
Yeah,
too.
that's one you have to watch multiple times for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the first time I watched it, I was like, "Wait, what's going
Yeah.
on?" You know what I mean?
Is he undercover? Or is
Yeah.
He, yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
those
that
are
is-
good. Those
that
are
is a
good
good
movies,
one.
too.
Yeah, Departed's great.
Are you a Braveheart guy?
I've never seen it.
Shut the front
That's
door.
going to probably be the first time on this
You-
podcast.
God, I mean,
I know what you're talking about. I've never
Oh
watched Mel
my
Gibson.
We're gonna have to write that one down,
Okay,
John. You're gonna
Mecca
All
movie
right.
night.
Mecca
We
movie
got a
night,
Mecca
right?
movie night.
That, if,
Braveheart,
If
okay.
slash when Mecca movie night ever happened, that will be the first movie.
Oh, dude. Yep, it's
Watch it.
decided. Yeah,
It's decided.
It was gonna be Pumping Iron, but it's no longer Pumping Iron. It's Braveheart.
Okay,
now.
I
Yeah.
respect it. Yep,
Yeah.
you might have to do a poll.
Yep. All right. So, what is your gym playlist look like? What's your top go to jams these days?
People are gonna. So this is gonna sound stupid. Half the time I'm not even listening to music. I'll have earbuds in. There's nothing playing.
That's fair.
Interesting. Yeah.
And for me, it's like that. That way, I know people aren't gonna bug me.
Right.
Yes.
And sometimes I just need that. I just need to be blank. I just
Yeah.
need to let it roll. So music playlists, like if I do listen to music, I will usually put on like I used to listen to like hardcore rap,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then the message to me, it was like I don't want to say too
Yeah.
negative, but
Yeah.
too hard, you know. So
No,
I try now
I
to if I
get
listen to
that.
music, I'm listening to stuff that doesn't have lyrics. So it might
Oh,
be
yeah.
like EDM or something where it's just a beat
Yeah.
music. I don't want to hear like negative thoughts
Yeah.
in my mind while I'm lifting.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I get that totally.
But majority of the time, I'm either not listening to anything or it's a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like I listen to Andy Frisella. I listen
Oh, yeah.
to Joe Rogan. Yeah, there's a couple different podcasts. Gary
Nice.
V. I love
Oh, yeah.
Gary V.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I noticed that these days I don't really like. I used to not listen to lyrics at all. Like, it's funny. I'd listen to music and I would not listen to what they're saying. And my parents would be like, do you know what they're saying right now? And I'm like, huh? They just said what? Like, no, it's just like the beat, you know?
The beat, yeah.
And nowadays I can't help but hear everything. And so if I'm listening to something and I'm like, oh, I don't agree with that. Like, I will shut, it's negative or something like that. I will shut it off.
Yeah. It's almost weird like that kind of genre of hip hop or whatever. It's just like almost went a horror movie route where they like try to twist your mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm going back to my EDM. Right. That's right.
Yeah. Hunter and his EDM.
It's interesting. There's a podcast. It's called the Mind of George podcast. I also listen to that. And he's the one, because I know Chris Gethin made a post about, your diet isn't only what you consume, it's also what you intake, right?
Yeah.
And very similar message from the Mind of George podcast. He put it out like over a year ago, but he talked about that and about like what you're consuming through music you listen to, what you're watching on TV, and this and that. And even conversations you have with people, like to shut it down if people become kind of two-faced, maybe talking bad about people, how they don't allow that in their diet, their daily diet. So that's kind of where I'm at too. And it's kind of cool. I don't know if you've ever worked out and just put earbuds in and not played anything.
Strangely enough, I have.
Yeah,
actually.
It's actually pretty cool. Like, your mind, like, you just start to like back to that creativity flowing and stuff. Like when you don't have beats and you're just there with your own thoughts and lifting weights, and that's where some of my greatest ideas have come from.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Working out with just headphones in, not listening to anything.
I'm gonna try it purposely. I've done it accidentally, where like I would pause it to talk to somebody, or like, and then I wouldn't start playing it again. I'd keep going and be like, oh, where'd my music go? But I didn't really think about doing that purposely.
Yeah, I like sometimes like just put the noise canceling function on or something and go at it. But I find with lifting that it helps to have some sort of rhythm. Yeah. So like you said, even if it's not words, like having a rhythm almost helps you, contract muscle and things like that. So, but yeah, no, I can totally see that. So Jon, what is your preferred exercise modality? What do you like to do for exercise?
Oh, and that changes too. Like, I feel like I haven't become the master of anything because I'm always changing like what I'm doing, right? So used to be like an RPE guy, then went to train every set to failure, and I just try and see what works. So now I'm back into powerlifting, so I'm back on like an RPE scale, and really just trying to increase strength, and trying to somehow collaborate that with running. Getting prepared for a marathon run,
That's definitely an interesting juggle. I've coached a lot of people that do sort of both, that sort of a thing, and it's very dependent upon your recovery ability, you know what I mean? And it's a very slippery slope, we'll say, with recovery and when you're squatting and when you're doing long runs and things like that. So it's a fun conundrum, but it can be done. It can be done though, you just got to coordinate.
We're on week 2 and so far feeling pretty good.
Going strong,
but I could definitely tell I could probably lose like 25 pounds and help my knees out on the runs a little bit more.
Man, for running, absolutely. Yeah. We'll running gets rough, man, especially when you're carrying some weight. I mean, even when I'm lean, running feels just heinous on the joints. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my knees are just achy, and
it just doesn't
get better.
It doesn't feel good. But I mean, it's all about building that tolerance to stress, right?
Yeah,
adapting. Yeah.
So I don't know if you we talked about Andy Frisella, and he went through his big transformation. He lost 80 pounds, right? And it really got my mind thinking, because like when I forget how many months it was, but he lost 80 pounds. So he did this video because every day he was like on low impact, low heart rate cardio, so he'd walk up these long hills. When he lost the 80 pounds, he told his marketing guy, he's like, hey, let's throw an 80-pound vest on me and I'm going to walk the hill. Yeah. So they threw the 80-pound vest on, and he couldn't even make it. Yeah. And like he just sat there, and it was kind of a neat video, because he was like, holy shit. He was like, that means that guy that was 80 pounds heavier, that was the toughest guy. That was like putting it in perspective, like that's as hard as it's going to get for you. is
Oh,
that
yeah.
day. Day one is the hardest it will be. Once
Oh,
you
yeah.
get past that, it's all downhill, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
at the end of when he lost all the weight, he couldn't even do
Yeah.
that same trek with the 80 extra pounds.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, man,
crazy.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anybody who's on that path, like day one, that's going to be the hardest day for them.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
downhill from there.
Absolutely. Day one is definitely the hardest day. So here's a fun question for you. Who would play your character in a biography?
Oh my God. Who?
Hunter's the Wiz. at
I
figuring this
was,
out.
but I feel like the past few guests we've had, I've had a hard time sticking them.
Dude,
The
I-
Wiz?
Somebody. The Wiz. Yeah. I used to be able to, for some reason, because I love movies and I love filmmaking, I'll walk around and be like, oh, this person could play this guy or this person. I would do that in
Yeah.
a store.
Dude,
Right.
Like, this is my cast I would put
I've
together.
got one. I've got one.
Eric's been killing it lately.
Jason Statham.
Hot damn.
For who?
For you.
To play your
hell
character. Oh, yeah.
He'd have to gain like 50 pounds.
I mean, assuming you could do that. I mean,
Jason
yeah, you know what I mean?
You've been killing it lately.
Or a bald Gerard Butler. I could see that too.
Yeah. Hey. Damn, those are compliments. You guys are boosting my ego.
There we go.
Well,
Feeling
if you're
good.
gonna make a movie about yourself, you might as well boost
Dude, you gotta
You're
choose the best possible actor.
But that's really
you
good.
know
I really
what I
like
mean?
Jason Statham.
Vin Diesel at age 52.
Yeah.
Some Vin Diesel.
Put on some age and some
Vin Diesel.
beer gut. He could play me.
Yeah. No, you're
still.
better. You're better than Vin Diesel for sure.
We're just gonna say it and leave it. You are.
I mean, if you were to ask me that question, I'd say The Rock, even though, I mean, the ethnicity's way off. But I
For
mean,
you?
yeah, I'm just,
I'm gonna do it though.
I mean, come on. Like, if you're going to get to choose, you better pick the best one, right?
Right.
I mean-
Right.
Who would play Eric?
We've talked about it. We said
Did we say Butler?
Butler. We said Gerard Butler. Mostly because he's
The beard,
very
the
much
the 300
300
beard
yeah.
going on, you know.
Yeah, that was.
I could see that. He
was
would
an
have
easy
to.
to
He
get
would
out.
have to get way more jacked, though. Let's be
He
honest.
would have to- way more jacked.
Oh man.
True.
So we'll leave you with this. What are who are your top two role models or influences in your life?
So yeah, role models. I definitely have to say my dad. He's one. He love my dad because he's had diabetes his whole life, and he never played victim to anything. Like, he always monitored. Like, this is growing up in an age where they didn't have like the
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that. Like, he literally had to poke his finger every day and test his blood
And
see
give
where he's
himself
at.
shots of insulin.
Yeah, and
Right.
give
There's
himself
not
shots of
there's not a
insulin. Didn't have the
machine.
pumps that would automatically do it and
Yeah.
regulate everything for you. So
Yeah.
I respect that. Like, he's lived his life and he's 83 years old. Like, he
Dang.
he had me at an older age. He was 40 when he had me.
Yeah.
But he's had diabetes. He dealt with all that. He put himself through school, and knowing the parents and how he grew up in a rough household. So
Yeah.
he was able to make it out and do what he wanted to do and provide a great family. And
Yeah, that's
he's always
awesome.
an inspirational guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Good answer.
Yeah, great one.
And then you said two. So
Yeah.
the second person, I don't know. Really, my dad's my big one, and then inspirational. One of the people I look up to is probably Gary Vee.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listen to his stuff, but
Yeah, a
again,
little bit.
that's like a true. Like, I look at some of these entrepreneurs that grew up in money or
Yeah.
had big investors behind them that helped them get to where they wanted to be. Gary Vee started off with nothing,
Yeah.
He grew everything himself, and he's always been that cutting edge guy. So I always listen to him because he knew Google advertising before it was a thing. He
Yeah.
knew YouTube was going to be a thing before it was a thing. And when he predicted that there were going to be YouTube, influencers that
Yeah.
were going to make more than movie stars, and everybody laughed at him. And he
Yeah.
was one of the initial investors in Twitter because he was like, this is going to be huge. And people are
Yeah.
like, it's 200 characters. Like, what are you talking? Isn't that what email's for? And
Yeah.
everybody laughed at him and made him a fortune. And then he called out TikTok, which we still haven't figured out. I don't know how, but
Dude,
but TikTok's the new
TikTok,
thing. And
dude.
yeah,
It's a Wild
TikTok's
West
wild.
out there, man.
I feel like I don't have time to sit there and like plan out my TikToks and
TikToks.
stuff.
Right,
I just,
yeah.
dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
TikTok's it's just a
Content creation's getting quite.
It is complex.
It's an intense deal.
Yeah, it is an intense deal. Yeah, especially the TikToks, man. I mean, you got all these teenagers that have all the time in the world, and they're like filming dances and all this crap, and I'm like, jeez,
that's not really our market or a niche. But
no.
I'm sure there's,
but it's intense.
Oh, there's a way to do it, and
yeah,
for sure.
Well, yeah, like you said, the TikTok, like even TikTok stars separate from like YouTube, bigger than movie stars.
Yeah,
doing all this kind of
stuff.
stuff.
They can just bank off of their following and all the it's unreal.
Yeah, it is nuts. But
it's a fascinating world we live in. But there
all right. Well, I've definitely learned a lot about you, Jon. I definitely respect you. You know, even more after hearing your story and, you know, your views as a company. And we sure appreciate you having or making time to come out and haggle on a microphone with us. Yeah. This is one of our favorite activities that we get to do. And I just love podcasting now, man. It's super fun. And mainly it's because we get to talk to cool people. So I appreciate you being on and being our guest,
thanks for having me. Yeah, it was an honor to be on here. You know, I love what you guys are doing. You'll definitely be added to my podcast playlist.
Yes.
I'll be listening to them working out here.
Yes.
But yeah, I love what you guys do.
All right.
Not just from the podcast, but the Mecca, everything you guys put on, and being supportive of everything that we've done. And that's why we're wanting to support you guys in any way we can.
Yeah, we appreciate it. If you guys haven't heard, check out UXO Supplements. They've got a website. We also carry them at the Mecca gym. Come and check them out. We've usually got samples, and we'd love to let everybody know what are the things you need to take for what. Jon's giving you his top 3 list for supplements, so go and check them out. Give him a follow on the socials, and we will catch you next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
See you later, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Power of Lifting podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more content like this, follow Eric Cafferty and the Mecca Gym on all social media platforms.